Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are wading into some pretty murky waters.
We are.
We're dealing with a topic that, frankly, most of us get wrong. It's a word that's been co-opted by greeting cards, but when you actually try to apply it to real life, to betrayal, to being deeply wronged, it just feels impossible.
It feels impossible. We're talking about forgiveness.
We are.
And it's the heavyweight champion of emotional baggage.
Yeah.
You're right. It's usually misunderstood.
Yeah.
Most of us see forgiveness as this passive thing, a feeling that just washes over you when enough time has passed.
Exactly. I guess I'm over it now. We wait for the lightning bolt.
Right.
We wait to wake up and simply not feel that anger anymore. But the book we're breaking down today says if you are waiting for that feeling, you're going to be waiting forever.
That is the core thesis. We are diving into Forgiveness is a Choice by Robert Enright. And, well, the title is a spoiler, but it's a necessary one.
It is.
Enright argues that forgiveness isn't a feeling. It's a skill. It's a strategic cognitive choice you make.
And before you listening roll your eyes thinking this is some fluffy, let's all hold hands manifesto, we need to clarify who Robert Enright is.
We do.
Because his background makes this a very different kind of conversation.
It absolutely does. He's not a guru. He's a professor of educational psychology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And he is widely credited with being the pioneer of the scientific study of forgiveness.
So he basically founded the field.
He dragged it into the psychology lab. Before Enright, forgiveness was stuck in philosophy and religion departments.
Which I think is the real hook here. He treats forgiveness not as a moral obligation, though it can be, but as a psychological construct that can be measured, tested, and well optimized.
Right. The book came out in 2001, right when psychology was pivoting from just fixing what's broken to positive psychology. How do we actually thrive? And Enright's data suggests that holding a grudge is essentially a physiological stress state. So this deep dive is really about how to hack your own emotional response system.
I like that framing. If you're listening and you have someone living rent-free in your head, an ex, a bad boss, a family member, this is the eviction notice.
It really is. So let's get into the mechanics, because Enright is very specific about definitions, and I think this is where most people get tripped up.
This is why they refuse to even try to forgive.
Exactly. They think forgiveness implies something it absolutely doesn't.
This was a huge aha moment for me. Enright draws these hard lines between forgiveness, pardon, and reconciliation.
They're crucial distinctions. So let's start with what forgiveness is not. It is not pardon.
Cool.
Pardon is a legal concept. If a governor pardons a criminal, the criminal escapes punishment. Enright is very clear. Forgiveness does not mean the other person gets off the hook.
So you can forgive a thief in your heart, but still testify against them in court.
100%. In fact, Enright argues that might be the healthiest route. You pursue justice for society, but you practice forgiveness for your own sanity.
They're two separate tracks.
Completely separate.
That distinction alone takes so much pressure off, because I think people worry that forgiveness means being a doormat. It means saying what you did was okay.
And Enright is shouting from the rooftops, no, it's not okay. You can forgive while simultaneously seeking justice.
But that leads to the second one, which is even harder for people to untangle.
Reconciliation.
Reconciliation, yeah.
I think most of us assume that if I say I forgive you, it implies we have to be friends again, or I have to invite you to Thanksgiving.
Or stay in the marriage. And that is the most dangerous misconception.
Yeah.
Reconciliation requires two people.
Right.
It requires the offender to be sorry, to change their behavior, and to rebuild trust. Forgiveness, that's a solo act.
A solo.
You can forgive someone who is completely unrepentant. You can forgive someone who is dangerous. You can forgive someone who is dead.
That's actually profound because it removes the other person's power from the equation.
Yes.
If I need you to apologize before I can forgive you, then I'm still letting you control my emotional state. You're trapped. If you confuse forgiveness with reconciliation, you think, I can't forgive my abusive ex because I can't let them back into my life. Enright says, keep them out of your life. Keep the restraining order.
But forgive them internally.
So you stop carrying the poison.
Poison is the right word. Okay, so let's talk about the barrier. Why do we cling to the grudge? Enright talks about the nature of anger.
He does. And interestingly, he doesn't demonize anger. He says anger is the necessary first step.
So you have to feel it to heal it.
You have to. If you don't admit you're angry, you're in denial. You can't forgive an injury you pretend doesn't exist. The problem is when anger calcifies.
What do you mean?
We hold on to it because it feels like protection. It feels like if I stay angry, I'm honoring the hurt. I'm making sure what they did matters.
It's almost like a justice mechanism. My anger is my testimony that what you did was wrong.
Precisely. But Enright's counterargument is the biological reality. Chronic anger releases cortisol. It suppresses the immune system. It increases blood pressure.
So while your anger feels like a weapon against the enemy.
The enemy isn't feeling it. You are the only one bleeding.
That's the old cliche, right? Drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
But he backs it with data. He does. So the whole mission of the book is moving from that toxic state to release. And he doesn't just say let it go. He gives us a roadmap.
A 4-phase model.
This is the core of his work.
Let's walk through them, because the structure is what makes this actionable. It's not just a vague wish. Phase 1 is the uncovering phase.
Right, and this is the messy part. This is where you rip the bandage off, you stop minimizing what happened, you admit, I was treated unfairly, and it hurts.
But he asks you to go deeper than just the event, right? He wants you to uncover the consequences.
Yes. How has this injury changed your worldview? Has it made you cynical? Has it ruined your ability to trust new people? Has it made you physically sick?
You have to tally up the cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to realize how expensive the grudge is before you're willing to do the work to drop it. You have to reach a point of emotional exhaustion.
Where you just say, this isn't working for me anymore, it's too heavy.
And that brings you to phase 2, the decision phase.
Now, to be clear, this isn't the part where you actually forgive them.
No, and that's a key nuance. The decision phase is just signing up for the gym. It's making the intellectual commitment.
It's a pivot.
It's a pivot. You decide your old strategy, ruminating, complaining, is a failure. So you decide to try forgiveness as a new strategy. You're saying, I'm willing to learn how to do this.
Okay, so we've signed the contract. Now comes the workout, phase 3, the work phase.
The heavy lifting.
And honestly, this sounds incredibly difficult. This is where Enright talks about reframing and empathy.
It is the hardest part, without a doubt. This is where Enright asks you to work on reframing your view of the offender.
And this is where I think listeners might push back, because if someone really hurt me, why on earth should I try to empathize with them? It feels like I'm making excuses for them.
That is the natural resistance. But Enright is very careful here. Reframing isn't about saying they didn't mean it.
Or they're actually a nice person.
No. It's about widening the lens. It's asking, what was their childhood like? What pressures were they under? Were they acting out of their own trauma?
So it's the hurt people concept.
It is, but think about the psychological effect of that. When you see someone as an evil monster, they are giant, they're terrifying, they have power over you. But when you see them as a flawed, wounded, maybe even pathetic human being acting out of their own brokenness,
They shrink.
they shrink.
Yeah.
And you can feel pity for a messed up person. You can't feel pity for a monster. And that tiny crack of understanding, that is where the freedom enters.
Unless you detach.
Yes. You realize this wasn't entirely about me. This was about their dysfunction.
That detachment is the goal. It's not about loving them. It's about untangling yourself from them.
Beautifully put. And that leads to phase 4, the deepening phase. This is the outcome.
What does that look like?
It's finding meaning in the suffering. It's post-traumatic growth. You realize that you survived. Maybe you realize you're stronger than you thought.
And the physical release. The anxiety dropping.
That's the payoff. The obsession fades. You get your bandwidth back. You're no longer waking up thinking about them. The heavy backpack finally hits the floor.
I want to zoom out for a second, because there's a theme here I think is really empowering. A lot of people feel that forgiveness is weak.
Like you're a doormat.
Yeah. But Enright frames it as an issue of agency.
This is my favorite part of his philosophy. When you are a victim of a wrongdoing, by definition, you were powerless. Something was done to you.
Right.
If you stay in resentment, you are remaining in that reactive state. You are letting the past dictate your present.
You're letting the offender drive the bus.
Exactly. Enright frames forgiveness as the ultimate act of taking your power back. You are saying, I am no longer a victim of your actions. I am the hero of my own recovery.
It's an act of rebellion against the person who hurt you.
You are refusing to stay hurt.
That flips the script completely. It makes forgiveness sound almost aggressive, in a good way, like I'm aggressively reclaiming my peace.
It is. It's active. It's muscular. It's not soft at all.
I also wanted to touch on the comparison to Desmond Tutu, because when we talk about forgiveness, Tutu's name always comes up. How does Enright differ?
Well, Desmond Tutu's work, which is beautiful, is deeply rooted in Ubuntu and spirituality. The idea that I am because we are, it's a moral imperative.
Which is great if you share that spiritual framework.
Right. But Enright's approach is empirical. It's secular. He wants to show that even if you're an atheist, forgiveness is still the logical choice for your own brain health.
It democratizes the concept.
Yes. You don't need a priest, you need a protocol.
Speaking of protocol, let's get practical. We've got the theory, we've got the phases, but how do I actually do the work phase?
Okay, so there are a few exercises, but 3 stand out. The first is journaling, but not just Dear Diary venting.
Yeah, because sometimes venting just makes you madder. You just loop on the story.
Exactly. Venting can be re-traumatizing. Enright's journaling is analytical. In the uncovering phase, you track the patterns. When do you feel the anger? What triggers it? You're gathering data.
You're a scientist of your own emotions.
Okay, what about when we get to that hard part, the reframing?
He suggests a specific cognitive exercise. You try to write the story of the event from the offender's perspective.
Oof.
I know. And you have to be honest. You can't just write, he did it because he's a jerk. You have to ask, was he afraid? Was he trying to protect his ego? Was he under pressure?
That sounds excruciating.
It is. But it breaks the binary of good me versus evil them.
Yeah.
It forces you to see the gray areas. It's a creative writing assignment that changes your brain chemistry.
And the third strategy?
The empty chair or the unsent letter. Classic therapy, but he leans on it heavily. You write a letter to the person detailing exactly how they hurt you. Get it all out.
And then you burn it.
You burn it, you shred it, you bury it. The point is externalization. You move the poison from your heart to the paper.
Yet honor sharing.
And it's a safety valve.
It is. And through all of this, Enright emphasizes self-compassion. This is a journey. It's non-linear. You might be in phase 3, feeling great, and then you see them on social media, and boom, you're back in phase 1, furious.
And that doesn't mean you failed.
Not at all. It just means you're human. You just have to make the decision again, recommit to the process.
That non-linear part is so important. I think we judge ourselves for not being over it fast enough.
We do. And that judgment is just a second layer of pain we add. Be gentle. This is major surgery on your soul.
So as we wrap this up, I'm thinking about the listener who is on the fence. Maybe their hurt is just too big. Maybe forgiveness just feels like letting the bad guy win.
I would say, look at the cost. Who is winning right now? If you are losing sleep, if you are snapping at your kids, if your blood pressure is up, the bad guy is still winning.
They're still hurting you, even if they aren't in the room.
Forgiveness is how you stop the bleeding. It's how you break the chain. If you don't heal, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you.
That's a haunting phrase, bleeding on people who didn't cut you.
It happens every day. So the takeaway is, don't wait to feel it. Decide to do it. Treat it like a skill you're learning. Build the muscle.
So here's the challenge for everyone listening. It's a little uncomfortable, but that's why we're here.
Identify the person. You know who it is. The name that made your stomach tighten when you started this deep dive.
Don't call them, don't text them, but maybe today, just open a notebook, write their name at the top.
Yeah.
And just start phase 1. Just admit how much it hurts.
Start the eviction process. Reclaim that space in your mind for something better.
It's simple, but it's not easy. But as Enright shows us, it is a choice, and it's yours to make.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully this gives you a toolkit to handle some of that heavy lifting.
Be kind to yourselves out there.
See you next time.